A Long Night is a retro, high-score-based, first-person shooter with an infinitely generated world, and I made it for the Miz Jam. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I feel like I learned a lot making it, so I'm making this devlog to recount my experiences. I will be focusing on how I came up with my ideas, how I did some of the more difficult parts of the project, and some tips and tricks I learned from making the game. Coming up with the idea for my game was a process that took me a couple of days. Before starting the jam, I knew I wanted this to be my first game jam, making a 3D game, and I would focus on having an interesting visual style, but that was the extent of my plans. When the art pack for the jam was released, the first thing I did was place some of the sprites in a 3D world with a first-person player controller. When I added lighting and a starry skybox, my imagination really started rolling. It clicked that I wanted to make a FPS game with an infinitely generated world where enemies randomly spawned around you. The programmer part of me was really excited by the idea of making the world procedurally generated, and I especially liked that I wouldn't have to place and make the world manually. To do the procedural generation, I split the world into chunks, where each chunk has its own configuration of mountains, paths, cactuses, and chests. To have somewhat connected paths, I used Perlin noise, and I simply placed mountains, cactuses, and chests with pure RNG wherever there wasn't a path. To help with performance, I implemented a chunking system using a hash table where only the 9 closest chunks would be visible at any given time. Making the enemies was pretty simple, as I just made them spawn a certain radius from the player and walk towards them. However, when I started testing, I realized that it was really easy to just juke the enemies in front of you and run past them. So I made the change to the enemies that they actually read your inputs and predict where you will be, which made things a lot more challenging and fun. After I had the core gameplay of the game, I just started adding a bunch of game juice and polishing features. I think this is one of my favorite parts of making games, and I did a bunch of small things here that all added up. One of my favorite decisions was for the title screen. Instead of making a bunch of art and assets to make the title screen look nice, I decided I could simply show off my infinite generation algorithm in a Minecraft style by making the camera float endlessly through the world. Finding ways to maximize results while minimizing time and effort helps so much in game jams, so I'm always excited to find things like this. This is about everything I wanted to share. Thank you, Miz, for hosting this jam. I had a lot of fun making my game, and I am excited to play everyone else's. On my last video, 90% of the watch time came from non-subscribers, and I know that subscribing is kinda useless since YouTube's recommended algorithm gives you exactly what you want anyway, but it'll help show me that you are interested in content like this, and it'll give me motivation to keep making more. Thanks for watching.